Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Now Experts Time channel. We are watching a transformation series from this channel. So, in this transformation series, change management, we have taken a major piece in ServiceNow. Here, in the change management, how we can transform from normal change management to enterprise or automated change management, how it is possible. So, to answer this question, DevOps change velocity, one of the functionalities available in ServiceNow. That's what we are watching in this series. So this is the second session. Today we are going to talk about how the architecture is going to support. So before going to this architecture, uh, this is a tool we are going to use in this transformation program series. ServiceNow, it plays a service management role. Azure DevOps, it's a code repository. It's one of the CI/CD pipeline. And Sonar Cloud, it is a testing tool to understand the testing results. If it is greater than 85, then it supports to create a change ticket with the help of ServiceNow. And finally, the change will be deployed in your production environment. So these are all the items we are going to see in today's session, but specifically how the functional architecture is working in this environment. So there are three tools: ServiceNow, Azure DevOps, Sonar Cloud. So for this case, how it is working. So we should understand this functional architecture. If this architecture understood well, then when we are explaining the demo in the instance, then you can easily map it. So in Azure DevOps and Sonar Cloud, how the functional architecture is there. This is a functional architecture. If you see this left side portion, it represents a ServiceNow. Right side portion, it represents Azure DevOps and Sonar Cloud. So in the left side portion, ServiceNow side, what are all the things actually it is required in the landscape? These are all the prerequisite. First, you need to enable this DevOps change velocity plugin, and we need a ServiceNow account for DevOps manager, ServiceNow service account for integration, Azure DevOps account, Sonar Cloud account. So first three, it's part of your ServiceNow. Second two, it's part of your external system. Here CI/CD tool is Azure DevOps, so we need to connect with the Azure team and get these details. And the testing tool is Sonar Cloud, so you should connect with the Sonar Cloud team and get the details for the service accounts. So once it is ready, then we are ready for our implementation in our ServiceNow landscape. So if you see here, this ServiceNow side, uh, three major pieces are there. So how to trigger a pipeline? Actually, pipeline. Before going to that pipeline, we need to understand that mechanism. What is the usage of this pipeline? Correct. So pipeline, it helps to initiate the CI/CD transaction. So once it is initiated, how it is checking everything, it can be handled into the Azure DevOps. So pipeline, it's a one word. So pipeline option you can access from ServiceNow. And the similar way, pipeline action options you can access from Azure DevOps. Both sides it is support. So ServiceNow providing this option to run this pipeline from ServiceNow side itself when your two system working fine. That means ServiceNow and Azure DevOps. How it will work this ServiceNow and Azure DevOps with the help of DevOps change velocity. This DevOps change velocity, it having a CI/CD APIs are there. This CI/CD API is helping to connect these two systems. It's like a middle layer CI/CD API. That means DevOps orchestration API. That's what I'm talking about. So it acts as a middle layer here. It connects these two systems. And when it is connects, then pipeline will run. uh, Based on the pipeline, it will check whether it is going for an approval or not from change ticket. So those are all the things by default it will check from ServiceNow side. That means once the change ticket is created. So this is a high level view, but if you see here, it starts from ServiceNow. For in this scenario, we are triggering the pipeline from ServiceNow architecture, but it is possible in both sides. Even Azure DevOps also we can trigger the pipeline. So how this is important role in ServiceNow? Similar way, if you go to the Azure DevOps side, first how we are enabling this CI/CD or the DevOps change. Is it for your projects or organization? So mostly business will do project related DevOps. Some business they have a different concept, so they will expect for organization related DevOps activities. So here I'm highlighting a project. So project is a base layer, but these are all the things we are going to see in the demo as well, so you can easily relate it. So once project is created, then we need to create a YAML file. So YAML file, it's playing a vital role. This is called we call it as a repository. So this repository, it is defining the value what it should do. That means if you are seeing like a build, test, QAT, change acceleration, deploy, prod deployment, so everything it can be defined in your YAML file only. Clear? So we are creating this DevOps for a project or organization. Mostly it is a project. Some customer they have an option for organization as well. Second, you need to create a repo file. This repo file, it having a clear syntax about when it should build, what are the operation it should perform. QAT, when it should build, what are the operations should perform. When change ticket needs to be created, that definition is also defined in your YAML file. Finally, the production deployment, how it should happen, that definition also defined into the YAML file. Finally, before going to the production, how the testing should happen, that is also defined into the YAML file. So YAML file, it having a clear cut information about how it should behave, what are all the phases it should contain. That definition is defined in this repo file. So who is going to define this repo file? It's from Azure team. So it's not a one person effort. That means it's not only the complete ServiceNow technician effort. We need a Azure DevOps team effort also, so that they can create a YAML file. As a technician, if you know how to create the YAML file, then you can use it. If not, then you talk to your Azure DevOps team, they will configure it. Once this item it is completed, then you are going to run the pipeline. So when the pipeline it should run, then you already defined. If you see the series, number series I just added. Number one, it starts from ServiceNow. That means I'm initiating pipeline from here. So in this current scenario, second, it is going to the project. Third, it reading the YAML file. The YAML file having a definition. So in this definition, function 1 build and test, function 2 QAT, function 3 change acceleration, function 4 prod deployment. That's the way we defined. Then from third point to fourth point it will come. That means it will go for a YAML file, read it, execute that function, then move to the next operation, the next functionality, that is called a QAT. In the QAT side, it will connect with your Sonar Cube testing and collect the result. Once it is done, Sonar Cube testing is greater than 85% result it providing, then it is moving to the change acceleration. So here it is an important part. There is a major connection is going to happen between ServiceNow and the Azure DevOps, because this activity is going to create a automated change ticket in ServiceNow. So this portion, change acceleration portion, it's playing a vital role. So here you have a dependency with your ServiceNow. So when the change ticket is created in ServiceNow in this state, then it will go for an approval. So this approval mechanism you can define in your ServiceNow side itself. Whether it should go for an auto approval, that means no approval is required, or manual approval, something it should go for a group approval or a user approval, and auto reject, that means you can define that functionality, what basis it should auto reject. So these configuration, we call it as a change policies. You can define this change policy in your ServiceNow change management with the help of DevOps change workspace. So when you see these informations in the instance, you will get more clarity. So once this change ticket is created, then finally complete pipeline will be executed. Once the pipeline is completely executed, then it connect to your system. That means your change ticket created, it is approved, then move your code in your production deployment. So that's the way it will work. Okay, so I'm repeating. ServiceNow you can see in the left side, Azure DevOps you can see in the right side. ServiceNow side, mainly change management is a major part. Change management means change ticket you need to create and change approval we should accept. These two functionality normally it will happen. But when you install the DevOps change velocity plugin, additional these are all the functionalities it will be installed in your system. So you can perform pipeline trigger conditions, pipeline URL, orchestration URL, what are all the planning, everything you can see from ServiceNow side itself. So once this plugin is enabled, then go to your Azure DevOps. There you need to create a project or organization. Mostly projects are customer is expecting. Some customer they have a different option. They are having a organization related DevOps. So ask the customer and define it. Once the projects or organization is ready, then you need to define the repo file. This YAML file is having a definition of your build, test, QAT, change acceleration, and production deployment. So these item, it having a complete set of code, what it should behave, how it should behave. So there is a phase by phase approach, like a function by function approach you are going to define in this repo YAML file. Next, when the build and test is executed, it will go for a QAT environment. When the QAT is executing, then finally it is connected with your Sonar Cube to identify the testing percentage. If the testing result is greater than 85%, then this API, it is allowing to create a change ticket into ServiceNow. Once the change ticket is created, it should go for an approval, auto approval, manual approval, auto reject. These are all the configurations you can do from your ServiceNow change management policies. For any reason, if the change is approved, the pipeline will execute automatically and the code or the relevant things will deploy to your production deployment. So if you see here, this seventh portion, it's completely reducing your manual effort. It completely reducing your time consuming. That is a main concept in this architecture. So to achieve this, these are all the prerequisite is required. First three, it refers ServiceNow. Last two, it refers your third party. Here third party Azure DevOps and Sonar Cloud. So you talk to these team and get that credential to configure in your ServiceNow. And additionally, there is a document also available in ServiceNow area. So if you use this URL, then it will explain further informations what you are expecting or what type of problem you are facing. May this URL will help you. I hope you enjoyed this session. So in next video, we will discuss in ServiceNow side how this DevOps change velocity needs to configure. Thank you. Good day and good boy.